Hello, I'm Christopher Reeve. You know, I was thinking the other day about some of the strange parts that I've played since I started acting as a kid. One time I was the third guard from the left in Cinderella. Another time I played a tree. In Shakespeare's A Winter's Tale, I played a bear, as well as lords, officers, attendants, etc. And usually I was the etc. Another time I was a Nazi. And once I had the privilege of being Katharine Hepburn's only grandson. Well, it was on Broadway anyway. But I think that if somebody had ever told me that one day I would dye my hair black and wear red boots and play a man who flies around and lives by the North Pole, I would have had to say, okay, that could be fun. And it was, playing Superman. You know, since the film opened, a lot of people have written in saying, how did you do it? Well, I don't think we should show you everything. You know, I think we should keep a few secrets. But let's go together right now. Let's go back to the beginning of filming, 1977, and let's take a look at how they make a film the size of Superman. And we can meet Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Valerie Perrine, Margot Kidder, and a lot of the actors and technicians who made the film. You know, Superman's been around for a long time. And the kids who read him in the 30s are nearing retirement age now. But for reasons that aren't very hard to imagine, children have always had a fascination with this character. So I think the thing to do is to start by checking in with the kids of today. Let's see what they think about Superman.
Walks into a telephone booth and... Superman. It must have like a coat hanger or a closet where he can put his costumes and then change. Well, he came from... Jupiter? When he's wearing his reporter suit, he might have his Superman suit being washed.
He tries to take all the crime out of Earth. I mean, it's the only planet he knows now since Krypton's blown up.
He flies and he saves people. Well, that's it.
So I explained to him what it was. I said, Superman is a man who flies, who can do this, who is good, has terrible enemies, and all kind of fantastic things happen. And he immediately clicked.
When Ilya mentioned it, I started reading all the stuff about. And I believed it could be very good as a major film, if it will be done right.
I thought it should be an unknown at the beginning. Now, they all started working on me, and the commercial side said, we need a star. After we had Puzo and the director, we need a star. So movie really goes right to the top. And there's a moment where you weaken, and I said, well, you might be right. So we started looking for stars. And thank God, Redford turned it down.
This is the biggest film stage in the world, and over the next 10 weeks, about 100 people are going to turn it into a magical part of the Arctic where Superman's fortress of solitude is. Where I'm standing now will be the sea, a lot of pack ice.
My friends, you know me to be neither rash nor impulsive. I'm not given to wild, unsupported statements. And I tell you that we must evacuate this planet immediately.
You know, when I first came on the picture and I heard how much money Marlon Brando was paid for it, I was really upset because I don't think it seemed like much more money than anybody is worth. But then working with him and seeing him on film, to me, he's underpaid.
Specific charges listed herein against these individuals, their acts of treason and ultimate aim of sedition. These are matters of undeniable fact. Put some rhythm behind it. Who the hell? Electronic goo-goo? Good.
Just like the very top.
You'll be there. Can you be there to do it like that?
On day.
Right, and on day you switch. Try it. Let's shoot one.
And on the woman Eartha, whose perversions and unreasoning hatred of all mankind have finally threatened even the children of our planet.
There are a lot of marvelous actors, but I think it's more than an actor. He has become a legend. He has become a myth.
It's true we do it with Marlon. I mean, he's a legend. He's a true live legend. And I'm very curious about people, and that's somebody that's, I wouldn't ordinarily meet.
Thank you for coming in. I'd
Chance for
already
life.
tried.
That's where we return, folks. Yeah. I just watch Mr. Brando, everybody. Eyes on Mr. Brando now.
Shake! Shake! More debris! Come on! More debris! Keep it going! Keep it going! Start the rise very slow now. Start the rise. Make your move, Marlon. Very slow. Slow.
Films, as you probably know, are never shot in sequence, because that would be too easy and logical. And films, we always do it the hard way. No, really, you just go where the weather and cost and convenience dictate. So from our base here in England, we went to New York to shoot scenes of Superman as an adult before we went to Canada to shoot scenes of him as a child. Why New York? Well, if you ask me, New York is the eighth wonder of the world. So it's something special about it. It's got the kind of madness and craziness and life that sort of confuse Clark Kent, but at the same time provides the all-time great backdrop for Superman to do his stuff. A great deal of excitement, because why, as actors, how come we don't, if we want to act, I mean, why don't we just, put on costumes and do plays up in an attic someplace, on a rainy day when no one's looking? No, we want to reach the public. There is the excitement when the public comes out to meet you. So I'd be stupid if I said I didn't enjoy that. Now the question is, will it stay in control or get out of hand? And it's a question of degree. But in my first exposure to it, my first kind of relations with the press and stuff, there's the excitement of they want to listen to what I have to say. They're here to talk to me. My God, I mean, this is also part of being an actor, is that you get a certain fulfillment out of that.
People have been telling me I was going to be a star for 12 years now. It hasn't happened in that kind of big way, and I think I've formed my own character enough at this point that fame and money aren't going to change it that much. The advantages that come with fame and money are nice and not to be sneezed at, so I'd like that. Money. I really like to be rich.
All right, now that's how you prepared for Superman, but how the most difficult role is to prepare to be a reporter.
No, all right. No,
How did you prepare to be Clark Kent?
Also with great difficulty. No, I prepare by, first of all, I set out for myself in my own mind the difference between the two characters, and then things that I wanted to use to establish that.
All right, here we go. Please don't talk. Give us a break. Rock, roll.
Yeah, because I really like to go with him, you know? Yeah, listen, I gotta go mail these letters. I'll see you later, okay? Okay.
Bye tonight. Hi, Clark. How'd you enjoy your first night on the job?
Oh, well, frankly, I always thought it was kind of natural.
Yeah. Clark.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. No. I think the strongest choice, the best choice, is the one you make first, because it's an instinctive reaction to both characters. And you generally find that later on, everything else is pretty much complications. I found that I was overboard on Clark Kent. We came back during the course of the filming on Clark Kent. We sort of eased him up a little bit because he was just a little too broad. The voice was a little too funny. He was bumping into too many doors. He was just a little bit too much out of control. And I substituted a kind of eagerness and sort of desire to please instead, so that half the time he bumps into the door, the next time he walks through it absolutely smoothly, so they're trying to keep the audience off guard, not know what he's going to do. It took me longer to get to know Superman.
Sure.
20 minutes.
What?
20 minutes.
Is it all ready to go?
Can I put my arm around you?
Sure, go ahead.
Good. Now you gotta.
Hi, how are you, your love? You too. How are you doing? Good. Gonna be a night. I didn't know till this morning you were doing it.
Listen, it's simple. You got them coming out, confusion in the revolving door. They're starting where she spots you. This is his first day on the Daily Planet. Clark Kent. So he's in awe of everybody. And she says, Rex, how are you? Did you see anything good? And whatever you want. Yeah, it was fantastic. I saw The Omen. Whatever you want to say.
Oh, Rex, this is,
Clark Kent.
Bye.
Lois! Wait, it's me.
You see me going in a revolving door. Well, if anybody knows who it is, it'll be a miracle.
You know, that helicopter sequence alone took 6 months to shoot. It involved 5 film units working in 2 countries. I actually looked up for Lois Lane in New York, and then I caught her when I got back to London 6 months later. I hope you're not too disappointed to find that out. There were a lot of things that I didn't know when I started playing Superman, because I'd never really read the comics as a kid, and I had to do a lot of research. And one of the things that I found out is that Superman is a multi-million-dollar international industry. They sell 5 million Superman comics in the States alone, and another 7 million every month all over the world in translation. Well, how did all this begin? You probably read about it, but it began in 1933, when a kid who was only 17, named Jerry Siegel, was just lying in bed in Cleveland, Ohio, as a matter of fact. He was just watching the clouds go by. And he had a vision, really, of a man flying up among the clouds. So, next day, he calls up his friend Joe Shuster, and within a week, they'd come up with a real, honest-to-goodness American myth. Well, today, there's a whole army of writers and artists and engravers who've taken over for Siegel and Shuster, and they come up with new storylines for Superman.
Nothing. Now, we see we have radar. So what would happen if the rockets start appearing? Russia would see it on their screens, the United States would see it on their screens, and they both would want it for themselves. It might be interesting if maybe the United Nations would want to play a hand, maybe United Nations. But I think it might be best for the sake of the story that the United States gets a hold of the rocket first.
There was a shortage of paper, and anything that could be printed was just eaten up by the boys in the trenches. They needed simple reading, and they got it from reading comic magazines. On the covers of the early magazines at that particular time, we had the Superman with the Red Cross and Superman fighting the Germans and the Japanese.
Kent, where are you going? After Miss Lane. Something's wrong at Dahlgren's. If it's the mask, well, there's not much time to stop him. So long. Hey, kid, where'd you hurry? Yeah, got another front page scoop, Kent? Oh, thank heaven. The locker room's empty. Quickly now. Out of these clothes. It's Superman's turn now. Oh, someone's coming. The window. Out. And up. Up.
They were going to put a wig on me for Superman, you know. White sort of wig. And they put it on, and I thought I looked like a cross between Mark Twain and Albert Schweitzer. But it was a wig. And Dick Donner looked at me, he said, "No, Glenn, please, no." I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I bet I know what you're going to say." He said, "Yeah, you look like Glenn Ford with a wig on."
Truthfully, Jeffrey, did you know that?
That'll serve you proper.
True.
They can see, they don't believe you.
I know.
With the cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, my favorite still was the Hoppies, with Hoppies in the canyon, and the Indians on our one side, and the heavies are on the other. The dam has been burst, and the arrows are coming down, the water's coming down on him, and he's trapped in the middle, and he came back next week, and he was riding along the thing, and it just started with, after Hoppy got out of the canyon.
That's great.
In the radio show, whenever he changed from Clark Kent to Superman, they changed the voice. You see, they barrel the voice now. In radio, you can do that because they put something up here. There's a no, you know. They do it a little bit. They use little tricks. Well, we couldn't do that in the pictures. And besides, I didn't have to say up, up, and away. It was ridiculous. People could see that I'm taking off, you see, so there's no point in saying it. And likewise, there are a few phrases that he used in radio. This looks like a job for Superman. Well, now you don't have to say that, because you can indicate when you're going to change from Clark Kent to Superman by just looking around a little bit, you know, and ducking behind. Now everybody knows you're going to change.
So that Jimmy Olsen and myself, about all we ended up doing, you know, was being tied up, bound and gagged and waiting for the fuse to ignite and blow us to kingdom come. But in the television series, we had a lot more dialogue, and I think you had more chance to, you know, explore the character and do more with it.
Love what you see, love what you see.
Ready, Miss Tesmacher?
Have you ever tried running in high heels?
He probably has.
I've never done anything this outrageously comical before. Well, look. I mean, you know, the bracelets, the, you know, the wig.
Oh, got it. All right. I thought it may have worked, but all right.
Come on, reloading.
I'm one step above a moron. I have terribly good intentions, but I'm an awfully bad guy.
All right, can we rehearse, please?
Wait a minute, makeup for the lips. Lipstick? Now, I want it to go across the mouth like this. Okay.
Down to here.
Right. So here, down to here. Okay. Now plant it on this side. Right. Now wait a minute. How do you do it? How's that? Is that okay? Does it match from yesterday? Huh? Was that nice?
Well, I suggest vigorous chest massage. If that doesn't work, mouth to mouth.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant, I wouldn't let a man of mine do anything I wouldn't be prepared to do.
But, sir.
All right, get on the radio. Get an ambulance. I'm not going to let this hold the convoy up any more than I have to.
All right. Now, out goes the bad air. In goes the good air.
It's a pretty clean day today. The Empire State Building, the Daily Planet's got a good view of that. And it's all buildings is all you can see. Superman, we've seen him, buzz by here a couple times, Somebody being mugged right now down there. Can you get a shot of it? But over here, Clark Kent. This is Clark Kent's desk, but nobody knows he's Superman. So, and Clark here, and then the chief, his office is right in there. It's got all the pane glasses. Jimmy Olsen doesn't even have a desk. Photos by James Olsen, Lex Luthor. That guy, look at that. You see what it says? Lex Luthor was jailed yesterday for life plus 25 years. That's tough. That's tough. So he's gone for a while, I guess. Before Clark Kent came in the action, Jimmy was trying to scheme on Lois, but, financially he couldn't handle it. So he quit. And then Clark came in and took over. Ever since that, wrote me right out of the script. No, it's a good part.
Perry White is the editor of the Daily Planet, the news editor, and I think this kind of a headline is typical of Perry. Very dramatic, very large type. A story especially like this, while it's terribly, terribly unusual to the city of Metropolis, if he could find any kind of a story, he'd love to give it this kind of dramatic headline, all the big print and the large pictures.
My Lois Lane came, I suppose, physically from New York, emotionally, which is the way I tend to go about it, and in terms of the different parts that make up her brain and her psyche, I guess she came from me because I had nothing else to go on. The ambition, the manic drive, all that stuff was just parts of me that I put in. I mean, I think that every person, particularly actors, are made up of about 80 to 100 parts, and it's simply a matter when you take a role of choosing which parts of yourself could be usefully applied. I guess she loves he's, of course, the catch of the year, the biggest trout in the pond. I mean, the wonderful, perfect human being.
Is it true that you can see through anything?
That's the stuff. Yes, I can pretty much see. I feel I'm leaving her hung up there. Because
No,
I
you're
have
not.
to just drift
I'm on
over.
her face. But
Okay.
she's stealing the scene from you there.
Right, well.
Don't worry about it. Okay, here we go.
I gotta have a little dry. And there was one key scene for the whole part for me was the balcony scene with Lois, what I call the balcony scene. It's when he flies in and talks to her on the balcony, sort of about who he is.
Is it true that that you can see through anything?
Yes, I can, pretty much.
And that you are totally impervious to pain?
Well, so far.
What color underwear am I wearing?
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, I embarrassed you, didn't I?
Oh, no, not at all, Miss Lane. It's just that this planet must be made of lead.
Yes, so?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should explain. I sort of have a problem seeing through lead.
Oh, that's very interesting. Do you have a first name or anything?
What do you mean, like Ralph or something?
No, I mean like
Pink.
Huh?
Pink. We changed the whole sort of tone of that scene because I felt that it must be that the time had come when Superman would be open enough to say that he's there because he really likes her.
K-R Why? Do you like pink?
I like pink very much, Lois.
How fast do you fly, by the way?
Why don't we find out together?
And how do you propose we do that?
Well, you can take a ride with me.
626, take one.
And continue. This is California, the richest, most populous state in the Union.
I don't need a geography lesson from you, Luther.
All right. The San Andreas Fault, maybe you've heard of it.
Yes, it's the joining together of two land masses. The fault line is unstable and shifting, which is why you get earthquakes in California from time to time.
Wonderful. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, everything west of this line here is the richest, most expensive real estate in the world. San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Everything on this side of the line is just hundreds and hundreds of miles of worthless desert land, which just still happens to be brothers, but it is
All right, here we go.
Does it really?
Yeah. When I first heard about the project, I was, everyone says, yeah, well, big snooze job. But then when the role was offered to me and the script was sent to me, the character was totally different than I had pictured it in terms of I saw there was a great deal of latitude there, that I could maybe have some fun with it. That there was some. It was written well enough so that there would be some comedic value. Well, you can see by looking at this suit that I have on. This is not my real clothes. I hope you understand. But it's a certain style, a kind of a panache that the character has. That
optimum stress point.
It's fun to play. I think he is that kind of character where he has great contradictions.
You're a dreamer, Lex Luthor. A sick, demented dreamer.
I think he's very good, and I think it's a wonderfully brave thing for him to do, to take on a role that has traditionally, this kind of role has been difficult to overcome in terms of one's career. I think he has the capability as an actor to certainly survive the film. Whether it's successful or not, it's not important. I'm talking in terms of being typed. I think he certainly has the capability of coming out of the film in great shape. If someone had come to me and said, "You think that this guy should take this role?" I probably would have said no. I don't think he should have. But after getting into the film and seeing the kind of the production value and the kind of care that's going into the film, then I think I'd have to change my mind.
He's a lot of what America once was a long time ago. I'm a very liberal human being in my philosophies and my politics, and I find myself, in an odd sort of way, looking and respecting the conservative attitude of what Superman stands for now. Because I think I see a lot of my philosophies in application now, and I'm not very happy with them, and I almost wish I could go back to what once was, and what America once was.
The chain,
remember
there's a wire on your neck.
Yeah.
And don't touch the wires together, you'll be short-circuited and you go up in flames.
Mind over muscle.
You don't even care where the other missile's headed, do you?
On the contrary, I know exactly where it's headed. Hackensack, New Jersey. I'm gonna leave you now. No hard feelings. We all have a little fault. Mine's in California.
We'd always worried during the production whether we'd succeeded in bringing Superman to life. Because making people believe that a man could fly wasn't really the hardest part of making the film. I mean, we all know that Superman can leap over tall buildings, but the question is, could he leap over the generation gap since those early Siegel and Shuster days? We wanted to know if a man from the innocent 30s could survive in the post-Watergate 70s. Well, thanks to all of you, he's doing just fine.